Hello, and welcome to Integrating Educational Technology. I am your host, Cheryl Vasallo. Today's podcast topic is about the benefits of using hypermedia and multimedia in schools. But as I found, there is also a struggle in implementing hypermedia where it has a positive impact with students. As a side note, in order to avoid any tongue twisters, I will be referring to both the terms hypermedia and multimedia as only hypermedia throughout this podcast. In this rapidly changing world of technology, hypermedia is flooding our schools, even more so now with many schools moving to a one-to-one or BYOD, bring your own device environment. Along with these changes, there are factors that may inhibit the use of hypermedia in schools. Budgets, teacher training, and educational purpose are just a few of these factors. There are many reasons and many types of hypermedia that make it useful in schools today. Technology is our future. Diverse learners need alternate ways to learn. In addition, digital natives expect hypermedia to be part of their learning environment. They are comfortable and independent in their use of technology, but they still need guidance from the teachers who may not be tech savvy. Districts must adjust their budgets to account for the increased cost of technology integration, especially now with the state tests being online. Students need to learn how to manage real-world situations and problem solving using technology. State testing is online. There is no more filling in the circles with the number 2 pencil. Students need to be proficient in manipulating the software, highlighting and underlining text, along with using the online math manipulatives like calculator and rulers. This requires frequent exposure to the multimedia tools found on the assessments. For our diverse learners, such as English language learners, using hypermedia facilitates differentiated instruction. Lisa Wall and Julie Duffield, in their West Ed article entitled Using Flexible Technology to Meet the Needs of Diverse Learners, What Teachers Can Do, define differentiated instruction as, quote, giving students multiple options for taking in information, for making sense of ideas, and for expressing what they learn, end quote. They discuss several hypermedia tools that support diverse learners, such as speech-to-text, web resources like online maps, dictionaries, and encyclopedias. Graphic organizers, mind maps, drawing programs, as well as word processing software enhance the learning process by creating a visual for the students. The WebQuest is another example of hypermedia that is popular in the school setting. WebQuest, as created by Bernie Dodge in 1995, is an inquiry-oriented activity where all or some of the information comes from the Internet. It is a student-centered activity where they construct their new knowledge and skills through critical thinking, scaffolding, and cooperative learning. In 2012, Olga Kachina from California State University conducted a study on WebQuest. She found that this hypermedia tool was effective in, quote, the area of developing students' skills in gathering and analyzing the needed information independently, end quote. In her study, she brings up the point of teacher involvement. Although WebQuest is student-oriented hypermedia, it still needs to be evaluated by the teacher for effectiveness, modifications for diverse learners need to be in place, appropriateness of the WebQuest within the curriculum needs to be evaluated, and most importantly, it must have accurate and up-to-date information. I have personally witnessed a teacher assign WebQuest with broken hyperlinks where the teacher then told the students to, quote-unquote, just Google it. Which brings me to my final point, teacher involvement. Are teachers using hypermedia actively or passively? Is it producing critical thinking or just busy work? As Kathy Ringstaff and Loretta Kelly stated in their policy brief entitled Investing in Technology, the Learning Return, quote, a key issue in implementing a plan for technology is determining purpose. Will computers essentially be tutors used to increase basic skills and knowledge? Or will technology be a resource helping students develop such abilities as high-order thinking, creativity, and research skills? End quote. Teacher training needs to be elevated if the use of hypermedia is to be effective in the classroom. Teachers may also need to readjust the way they teach from less teacher-directed to more student-directed, with collaboration and problem-solving tasks, in order to support the use of hypermedia in the classroom. Robler and Doring, in their textbook Integrating Educational Technology into Teaching, mention the research of Richard E. Mayer. They note that Mayer found student use of hypermedia doesn't always have an automatic transfer of skills to other areas, but if there are teacher engagement and student reflection activities, the chance of transfer into other content areas is higher. The Office of Educational Technology also mentions a disconnect in the way hypermedia is used in the classroom. Quote, "A digital use divide continues to exist between learners who are using technology in active, creative ways to support their learning and those who predominantly use technology for passive content consumption." End quote. In closing, hypermedia is here to stay. It is supportive to many different learning styles of the digital natives. Teachers and school districts need to step up the pace in order to enhance the learning process for students to prepare them for the future. This concludes this podcast about the benefits and obstacles of hypermedias in school. This is Cheryl Vasello. Thank you for listening.